listening to the news in detail on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In the news headlines, GMOA launches intensified trade union action. Valigama Pradeshya Sabha gets a new chairman. Venerable Kasavathir and others further remanded. UK's Mandelson resigns over Epstein links. Englishmen secure a series in another rainy match. ICC warns Pakistan over selective T20 World Cup stance.
The top story on Gold FM.
Medical operations across 164 specialized hospital units nationwide face severe disruption as specialist doctors withdraw from all cover duties. The Government Medical Officers Association, or the GMOA, reports significant impact on operating theatres, intensive care units, radiology and maternity wards. The industrial action follows the expiration of a 48-hour ultimatum issued to the Minister of Health, which passed without a formal response to the specialists' demands. GMOA Assistant Secretary Dr. Prabhat Sugadadasa confirmed that the withdrawal began at 8 a.m. this morning, forcing hospitals to prioritise only the most critical emergencies. Patients at the Colombo National Hospital and other major medical centres report extreme difficulties and long delays in accessing essential treatment. The association maintains that the responsibility for the breakdown in healthcare services rests entirely with the ministry's failure to address their grievances within the stipulated time frame.
This is the local news on Gold FM. Now for some news in brief.
In your local news, the hunger strike outside the Presidential Secretariat continues for an 8th consecutive day as school development officers demand immediate absorption into the teaching service. Despite a scheduled meeting at the Presidential Secretariat tomorrow evening, protesters gathered at the Fort Railway Station this morning to launch a march towards the President's office. This intensification follows several hospitalizations due to deteriorating health among those fasting since the 26th of January, with 2 additional officers joining the strike yesterday to replace those incapacitated. Several political figures visited the site to express solidarity with the demonstrators, who claim over 6 years of classroom service. Simultaneously, education graduates staged a separate protest at the Surupaya Ministry of Education, calling for recruitment without further examinations for those already holding relevant degrees. Deputy Minister of Fisheries Ratna Gamage reported a violent assault on a Sri Lankan fishing vessel approximately 600 nautical miles out of international waters. 2 crew members remain in critical condition, prompting urgent measures for their immediate repatriation. This incident follows a similar confrontation on the 29th of January, where 12 fishermen from Vennapur reported an attack by Indian Coast Guard personnel. 6 individuals from that prior encounter currently receive treatment for severe injuries at the Galle National Hospital. Navy spokesperson Commander Buddhika Sampath confirms that naval forces intervened to provide medical assistance and evacuation following a request from the Department of Fisheries. An investigation now seeks to pinpoint the exact location of these attacks to clarify the circumstances surrounding the maritime violence. The Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today directed that a massive narcotics shipment valued at over 3 billion rupees undergo immediate examination by the government analyst. The Police Narcotics Bureau presented the 263 kg Lahore packed in 15 protective bags under heavy security following its seizure by the Sri Lanka Navy. The Chief Magistrate issued the order to secure an official analytical report after reviewing evidence submitted regarding the mid-sea interception. The contraband seized on the 25th of January from a multi-day fishing trawler consists of approximately 109 kilograms of ice and over 112 kilograms of heroin. 11 fishermen currently remain in custody in connection with the discovery. Puntland police apprehended a couple yesterday following a month-long surveillance operation targeting drug trafficking in the region. The Narcotics Control Unit intercepted the suspects in the Manankulama area while they were transporting 524 grams of ice. The seized narcotics carry an estimated market value of 8 million rupees. Investigations suggest that the duo residents of Anamadua conducted their illegal trade from a relative's house in Ibagamua and utilized a motor vehicle for distribution. The Trincomalee Magistrates Court in the meantime ordered 4 Buddhist monks, including Venerable Balangoda Kasapatera, and 6 additional suspects to be further remanded until the 9th of February. This legal action follows allegations regarding the unauthorized placement of a Buddha statue at the Trincomalee Bodhiraja Vihara last November. Authorities claim the installation occurred in direct violation of established coastal conservation laws. Chintaka Heva Patirana of the National People's Power secured the chairmanship of the Valigama Pradeshya Sabha following a decisive vote today. Our correspondent reported that the new chairman obtained 22 votes, narrowly defeating Shashika Priyankar of the Samag Janawala Vege, who received 21. Now, the leadership transition follows a period of instability initiated by the fatal shooting of former chairman Lasantha Vikramasekara inside his office last October. Now, in the meantime, in more updates, the Supreme Court today rejected 7 fundamental rights petitions filed by 145 chief inspectors of police challenging the 2020 promotion process for the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police. The petitioners claim that despite meeting all qualifications, they faced unfair denial of promotions after the Public Service Commission allegedly altered interview marks without legal authority. Now, during the proceedings, the court examined candidate mark sheets and reviewed testimonies from the secretary to the commission. The bench expressed satisfaction with the official explanation regarding the adjustments, declaring the process lawful. In its final judgment, the court ruled that the petitioners failed to prove any violation of fundamental rights and noted that the arguments lacked legal merit. Consequently, the court dismissed the case without costs, ending the long-standing legal challenge against the Inspector General of Police and the Commission. Sri Lankan officials confirmed plans to apply for financial assistance from the United Nations-linked fund for responding to loss and damage as the nation recovers from the impacts of Cyclone Ditwa last year. Additional Director at the Ministry of Environment's Climate Change Secretariat, Chami Kumar Singh, announced that these preparations during a forum hosted by the Silken Trust think tank. Experts suggest that the application could secure between $20 and $25 million to bolster reconstruction and disaster management efforts. Dennis Mombo of Silken Trust noted that this move coincides with the global shift in climate finance as the fund recently opened its first call for proposals.
Now for some news in brief.
The Department of Meteorology forecasted several spells of showers in the northern, north-central, eastern, Uva and central provinces and Hambantota district, while evening thunder showers with fairly heavy falls of around 50 millimeters are expected in parts of western and Sabaragamu provinces and Gaul and Mathura districts.
The business news on Gold FM.
Commercial banks in Sri Lanka reported an unprecedented surge in private sector lending for 2025, with total outstanding credit rising by over 2 trillion rupees. Data for December shows a robust year-on-year growth of 25%, even as monthly lending slowed slightly from the peak seen in November. This appetite for borrowing, the highest in the country's history, follows a prolonged period of low interest rates. Ceylon Land and Equity PLC confirms a strategic investment of 1.7 billion rupees to subscribe to a rights issue by Shaw Wallace and Hedges. The board resolves to acquire 86 million voting shares and 21 million non-voting shares in a move funded through a mix of internal cash and group borrowings. The transaction results in the company holding nearly 50% of the unlisted entity, including a total stake in its non-voting share capital. Global oil prices tumbled by nearly 3% on following comments from US President Donald Trump regarding potential negotiations with Tehran. Brent crude futures dropped $3.54 to $65.78 per barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate fell by $3.46 to $61.75. The market shift comes as both nations signal an openness to dialogue, easing fears of military intervention and tempering the geopolitical risk premium that previously pushed prices to a 6-month high. Gold values fell by 1.5% today as a strengthening US dollar and shifting expectations for interest rate policy weighed on the precious metal. Investors are currently gauging the potential impact of Kevin Walsh, President Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Federal Reserve, analysts suggesting that Walsh may favor a smaller central bank balance sheet, a prospect that supported the dollar and made gold more expensive for international buyers. Spot gold dropped to just under $4,800 per ounce, retreating from the record highs seen late last week. In other metals, silver recorded slightly from the 3-week low, while platinum and palladium recorded further losses.
International news on Gold FM.
3 million pages of evidence, thousands of videos and nearly 200,000 images. The US Department of Justice has released the largest tranche of its files to date regarding the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The documents, released under a law signed by President Trump, provides an unprecedented look at Epstein's final days in prison and his high-profile social circle. The massive data dump includes investigative records on Ghislaine Maxwell and personal emails that appear to shed new light on Epstein's links to Britain's elites. Among the files are messages dated as late as 2011 between Epstein and a figure referred to as the Duke, believed to be Prince Andrew. The email discusses private dinners at Buckingham Palace and offers of introductions. Israel announced that Gaza's main border crossing at Rafah will reopen for Palestinians today, with preparations underway at the key gateway. The Rafah crossing, which connects Gaza with Egypt, was the only direct exit point for most Gazans and a major route for aid before the war. It has been largely closed since May 2024 and is under Israeli military control on the Gaza side. Israel's coordination of government activities in the territories said the crossing will open in both directions for Gaza residents on foot only. Kogat also said the reopening will be coordinated with Egypt and the EU. An Asahi Shimbun poll shows Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's Liberal Democratic Party is on track to win a strong majority in next week's general election, potentially exceeding the 233 seats needed in the 465-member lower house and reaching about 300 with its coalition partner. The poll's result pushed up Japanese government bond yields as investors expect expansionary fiscal policies and tax cuts under a likely LDP mandate.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Kendrick Lamar stands as the Grammys' biggest victor last night, walking away with five trophies and officially becoming the most awarded rapper in the history of the ceremony. His collaboration with SZA, Luther, secured the prestigious Record of the Year title. While Lamar led the count, the top honors saw a wide distribution among global stars. Bad Bunny claimed Album of the Year for his latest project, while Billie Eilish took home Song of the Year for Wildflower. British singer Olivia Dean earned the Best New Artist prize in a night defined by variety. Lady Gaga celebrated 2 personal wins, including a victory for her track Abracadabra. The evening also featured notable surprises, as newcomer Lula Young beat several high-profile stars to win Best Pop Solo Performance. Jelly Roll enjoyed a successful night with 3 awards to his name, including Best Country Album.
Sports news on Gold FM.
England claimed an unassailable 2-0 lead over Sri Lanka after a 6-wicket victory via the DLS method. Chasing a rain-adjusted target in Pallekele, Tom Banton struck an unbeaten 50, while captain Harry Brook produced a blistering 12-ball cameo to secure the win with 2 balls to spare. Earlier, Sri Lanka reached 189 for 5, anchored by Pawan Ratnayaka's 40, but their momentum faded against England's disciplined spin attack. This result marks 9 wins from 10 completed matches for the visitors since Brook assumed captaincy. Sri Lankan captain Dasun Shanaka lamented the difficult bolting conditions caused by the wet outfield and a shoulder injury to Ishan Malinga. Now, in the meantime, the Pakistani government has approved the national team to compete in this month's T20 World Cup, but insists players will not take the field against India. The decision follows regional security concerns and political tensions, leaving the scheduled fixture on the 15th of February in doubt. That's it for now. Stay tuned to Gold FM for the latest updates. This is Avinindra Soma for Gold FM News.